That's done.
And that's Dash.
And we're rolling bones.
So today we're going to talk about Blood Bowl and how to play.
The first thing that we're going to talk about is the stats.
Everything your players can accomplish is based off of their abilities, and each one does a different thing and makes them better or worse at it, depending on how high or low the number is.
Mm-hmm. Your first stat on your sheet is the movement allowance, and that is just a number. How many of those little squares you can move, and you can move in a straight line, sideways, or diagonal.
Next is your strength. When two players are faced head to head and one tries to knock the other down, it involves using the block dice. The higher your strength, the better chances you have of getting a favorable roll on those dice.
So if your strength is even, you roll one die and it's what it is.
And this is the block die again. Well, we should probably show the dice up here.
Yeah. If one person's strength is higher than the other, if one player's strength is higher than the other, you roll two dice, and the higher strength, it doesn't matter who's actually doing the blocking action, the higher strength determines which die roll they want to use.
Right. And
if your strength is double the other person or more, then you use three dice and the higher strength determines.
Yep, you choose the higher. The coach with the player that has the highest strength chooses amongst those dice when there are options.
And there are some skills and some things again that let you discard one die or
re-roll certain results.
Yeah. So again, important to remember what your skills are and learn those skills for your team and your players.
Mm-hmm.
This is agility. Use an agility test.
Anytime you move out of a tackle zone, anytime you pick up the ball, anytime you catch the ball, whether it's from a pass or handoff.
Yep.
This is all agility.
The lower your agility, the better. What you're trying to do is you're trying to roll higher than your agility. If I'm moving from someone's tackle zone into a clear space, I just need to make my agility skill or my agility roll, and if I make it higher, then I can do it.
So you're rolling these tests for your agility on a six-sided die with numbers or pips. Whoops. So that's what you're rolling on. And the reason it's the lower the better is because the stat line is going to show something like 3+ or 2+.
Your next stat line.
The passing ability. So your throwers, quarterbacks in layman's terms, the guys that are going to be able to pick up the ball and pass them to your other players, your catchers, those guys with the high agility. Your thrower does need some agility, but just as important for your thrower is a good passing ability.
It doesn't just have to be a thrower that can throw the ball. They just have to have a pass ability. There are players that don't have a pass ability. They just have a dash through there.
Your passing ability is your ability to successfully put that ball in the square that you want it in. The passing ability is expressed the same way agility is. It's a number followed by a plus sign, and the lower the number, the more apt your player is to succeed.
The next stat is your armor value, and that is how difficult it is for the opponent to hurt you. So when you're in a blocking situation and a player falls down, whoever knocked that player down, even if they both fall down, then both coaches will roll, but whoever knocked that player down rolls 2d6 and tries to beat their armor value.
Next, you're going to have a set of skills and traits that are usually listed on your player. These vary greatly. We'll touch on a few of them because they'll be used in the examples, but otherwise we're not going to cover every one of them.
I would say some of the basic ones are block, dodge, pass, and catch.
Absolutely. Those are almost universal with all the teams in the game.
Dodge, pass, and catch are just a reroll of the one that you missed. If you miss it, you get to reroll that. Playing through the game, you have your team turns. Start activating players one by one. You have to complete an activation before you can move on to the next one. You can't go back to a previous player.
Correct. Once that player is done, they are done for the turn.
The basic actions you can declare are move. So the player is just going to make their move.
Using that movement statistic.
Up to that movement, but they don't have to move the whole movement, and then they can do the rush if they want.
Up to 2 times generally.
Yep. You can also declare a pass, and a pass you have to declare before you start that player's activation.
Yeah.
You have to declare that they're going to move and pass or whatever. You have to declare that at the beginning. There are a few actions that you have to do that with. And once you make the pass, His activation is done. And you can only make one pass per team turn. And that includes one of the other actions, which is throw teammate.
Yes. So throw teammate. You need a player who has
the right stuff.
The right stuff. So usually a smaller player. And they have to meet strength requirement, which I think is 3 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need another player who has the throw teammate skill, and I think their strength needs to be 5 or higher, and they need to be next to each other, so the bigger player can pick up the smaller player and throw them a certain distance. And you can use that to score. You can use that to knock other players down. You can do all sorts of dirty things with that.
Yeah. Then block is when you're next to another player. Block is the one that we talked about where you roll the dice and the strength determines
Yes.
how many dice and stuff. You can't move and block unless you
Blitz.
do the next thing, which is a blitz, but your block is your whole turn.
So when you get blocked, if you get knocked down for any reason, and it doesn't matter which player, because sometimes one or both players, doesn't matter who's blocking and who's doing the block, who's taking the block, will get knocked down. When that happens, though, you will roll on 2 6-sided dice and hope to meet or exceed your opponent's armor value, at which point you will then make an injury roll. Then with the injury roll, again, you roll those 2 6-sided dice, and you'll consult a chart, and different things will happen. If you break the armor, the best that can happen for that player is they'll be stunned.
Yeah, the best the player can hope for is to be stunned.
Yes.
You're hoping that you
Get them out of the game.
Yeah. Then Blitz, we mentioned. Blitz is, you can do that once per team turn.
Mm-hmm.
One player can blitz. They can move and do a block somewhere in their movement. They can continue to move after the block if they're still standing.
And they have movement left. There are other options. If you have a skill that allows you to do something else instead of a block, you can do that skill instead. But mostly the block or the blitz is used to move and block in different ratios.
Then you have the foul.
The foul is a fun one. I like it. It's risky. If you roll doubles on the dice, double ones all the way through double sixes, the ref catches you. A foul is illegal in the game, and if the ref catches you, the player is ejected. You can try to argue the call. There's a table to roll on for that. The only roll that you want for arguing the call is a 6. Everything else is a failure. And if you roll a 1, the coach gets thrown out as well, which means you can't argue any more calls after that. So it's risky.
Then there's lots of the skills, or some of the skills and some of the traits give you special actions that you can do outside of this stuff, but this is the general stuff in the game. Sometimes it can be confusing whether or not a player has been activated or not, so one of the things that it suggests, once you've activated a player, turn them towards your end zone, and then that means that they've activated and they've moved on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few ways your turn can end. One, all of your players have activated, your turn ends. You score a touchdown, your turn ends. The other ways that your turn ends are if you have turnovers. The most common turnover is during a block, your player falls down.
That is very common, yes.
That's probably the most common turnover that I run into.
And it will depend on your team. Some teams aren't going to try to block, but dodging is equally risky.
Typically, with few exceptions, if your player goes down, if it falls, it's a turnover.
Other things that will cause you to do a turnover are
falling over, being knocked down, the player that is in possession of the ball being placed prone. If it's your turn and you're forced off the pitch, then your turn ends. There's a list of those, but those are the common ways to end your turn. Blood Bowl is a game of 2 halves.
Yep.
8 turns per player per half. Now we're going to show you what that looks like. We are going to start here with the pre-game setup. The first thing we do is roll for fan factor. Just for sake of what we're doing, the
dedicated fan
for each team is going to be 1.
Now we're going to roll for fair weather fans. So each coach is going to roll a D3. I got a 3.
And I got a 2.
Okay. So now you're going to add that to the total of fans. And that's how many thousands of fans are there. So
7,000 fans.
Yep.
Then we will roll for weather. We roll 2d6.
Each roll 1d6. Got a 1.
And a 5.
So that's going to be a 6. That's perfect conditions.
Oh, there we go.
No prayers to Nuffle. And now we're going to determine the kicking team.
And we will do this just on... We're going to let it fall on the pitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip the coin. And Dan is going to call it in the air.
Tails.
It's heads.
Okay. So Dash chooses who the kicking team is.
And I'm going to have Dunn be the kicking team.
Okay. So that means I'm going to set up first. I'm going to need 3 players at least on the line of scrimmage here. And I'm going to take some linemen. And I've got my requirement met for linemen on the line here. I've got 2 blitzers. I'm going to put 1 blitzer here. 1 blitzer here. Actually, no. I like the blitzers in a little bit more. Then I'm going to take more linemen. Put those guys on the outside. Got to get 4 more players on the field. I'm going to put a thrower here. I like my catchers, so I'm going to keep them back a little bit. And then I'm going to put him there, and I'll actually move my thrower up. I'm okay with that for now. So that's my setup.
Then I will set up mine. I have to have 3 on the line of scrimmage. I am set up.
All right. Now I'm going to place the kickoff. It doesn't matter which way the template's oriented as long as you just respect what it says once it's placed. Template's down. It's going to move 1 space in the 1 direction, which is going to be there. Now we're going to roll
The bounce.
for the bounce. So roll the D8 again. So 2 is going to go to here. But before the ball
Actually
is
lands.
placed, we're going to roll on the kickoff event. So I'm going to roll it on the kickoff event. It's a 6. Cheering fans.
Both coaches roll a d6 and add the number of cheerleaders on their team draft list. The coach with the highest total may immediately roll once on the prayers to Nuffle table. In the case of a tie, neither coach rolls on the prayers to Nuffle table. Note that if you roll a result that is currently in effect, you must re-roll it. However, if you roll a result that has been rolled previously but has since expired, there is no roll to be made. Or there is no need to re-roll it. Okay.
My cheerleaders are 0.
My cheerleaders are 0. I got a 3, so I get to roll on the prayers to Nuffle.
The D16 for this one.
So it's a 13.
Fouling Frenzy. Until the end of this drive, any player on your team that causes a casualty with a foul action earns 2 star player points, exactly as if they had caused a casualty by performing a block action.
Nice. Now it is time to
Start the turn.
start the drive. A player's tackle zone is all of the squares around them.
So all these squares, all the way around the player, are the 8 squares that he marks.
And he can be marked from any one of those squares as well. For my turn, I'm going to start with my catcher here. And I have a move of 8. I'm going to move here. So I'm moving into his tackle zone, but I don't have to worry about it moving in. But now that I'm moving out and into another tackle zone, I have I have to make an agility test at a -1 because I'm moving from a tackle zone into a tackle zone as well, or I'm moving from being marked into another spot of being marked. You get a -1 for each player that is marking the square you're moving into.
Yes, so let's assume this guy was here, he'd be at -2, because this guy is also marking the square. But that's not the case.
So I move my player into that square, then I roll. And I have an agility of 2+, so I need a 3 or better. And I did.
Succeeded.
So then I'm going to move again, and I'm under the same situation. And guess what? I'm going to use my 1-team reroll.
Does he have dodge?
He does not have dodge.
Okay.
He has catch and nerves of steel.
Oh.
There we go.
6.
Then I will move again, and this time it is on a 2-up that I pass because I'm not moving into another one. Okay. I was here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next, I'm going to nominate my thrower, and I'm going to decide I'm going to announce I'm doing a pass before I start moving him, before I activate him. So he has a move of 6. So 1, 2, 3. Now that I'm in the square with the ball, I have to attempt to pick up the ball. I roll a d6 and need to get under my agility.
Or over.
I mean over my agility, which is 2+. So I pick up the ball. 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to make my pass. So I take the template and I place the circle over my thrower's head and determine
Target square.
the target square. So he's in the third.
So this one, this square here.
He's in the third section from me.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of us is, and I'm not being marked, so I don't have a minus for that, but I have a -2 because of the making the long pass.
Yes.
My passing ability is 2+. I roll, and I need a 4+, but I do have the pass ability, so I can re-roll this if I fail, or the pass skill, so I can re-roll this if I fail. And I made it.
Okay.
Now, since this is something we didn't talk about, but since this crosses over of his players, he can nominate one of those players to try and to interfere with the pass.
Definitely my catcher. And agility is 3.
Okay.
To interfere with an accurate pass, there's a -3 modifier. -1 if the player's being marked.
So your catcher, your blitzer would be who you want to do it with.
Yep. Definitely my catcher. I need a 6.
Once you interfere, then you try and catch.
I need a 6, which I did not get.
You have 5 rerolls.
I can only use it during my turn.
That's right. That's right. So this pass is accurate. Now I have to make a catch roll.
To catch an accurate pass. Oh, there are no modifiers.
Okay.
There we go.
So I have a 2-up, and I have the catch skill, which lets me re-roll if I fail. Which I'm glad I have a re-roll to... There we go. So he catches the ball.
So we're going to turn him around to face that way.
Him around to face that way.
It's fine.
I am going to block his lineman with my lineman. I get +1 to my strength, which puts me at strength 4. I believe that puts me 1 up above you. I think all your guys are strength 3 except for your catcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I roll 2 dice and I get to choose the more favorable one. Do your linemen have any skills?
No.
Okay.
Human linemen have no extra skills.
So I got pushback. He can push him back traditionally into any one of these 3 squares because they're exactly opposite, but I can't push him into these, so I'm going to push him back to this one. Now I'm going to blitz, and I'm going to blitz his blitzer. And both of us have skills that will...
Could affect the outcome.
Yep. But a POW does not affect that one.
Nope.
So with a POW, he is moved back to the square of my choice.
Yep, so this one, or this one.
And I'm going to move him back to this one. He falls down. I will follow up. And now I will roll to break his armor of...
9 up, I believe.
So I roll 2 dice. And I got a 7, which will not break his armor.
Okay, so he's okay.
Yep.
For now.
Then he is done. He is going to block him. And nobody gets bonuses. So it's 1 die straight up. Man. I'm going to send him. So now my options are this square or this square. Would be that one, but he's occupied. So I'm going to send him to this one. I'm going to follow up and try and break his armor.
9 up.
Nope. Then I'm going to block him with him. No bonuses anywhere. And he's going to come this way. And nothing there. Him on the thrower. And I will get a bonus because he's not in anyone's tackle zone. So 2 dice. Wow.
Lots of POWs.
I can't move you back though.
You can. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to push one of these 3 players.
Okay, I want to push him.
Yep. So with him, you could have moved him here as well.
Yeah.
In case you wanted to know.
And I'll move him there.
And he'll be knocked down.
And I will follow up. Does he have any weaker armor or is it the same?
It's my catchers that have the weaker armor, so it's all
Okay.
9 otherwise.
Okay. Then he's going to hit him and I get a bonus because of the blitzer. Actually, I'm going to hit him with the blitzer. I'll get a bonus from the other guy. Just because the blitzer has some skills that
May come into play.
But it doesn't matter. So he's going to come
You have 2 options.
here. Nothing. And then the guy over there on the end is going to hit your guy. I haven't been turning these guys around. So that was the end of my turn. Now it becomes Dunn's turn.
Yes. All right, I really want to start this one strong, but I'm going to stand him up, and that'll be his turn. Going to stand him up, and that will be his turn. Going to... So 3, 4, 5, 6. Stand him up for 3 movement points. And move him 4, 5, 6. That will be his turn. Then I will stand him up. That will be his turn. Stand him up. I don't know which square he was in. I think he was there. That will be his turn. Then I'm going to stand him up. That will be his turn. Then I'm going to move him there. That will be his turn. I'm going to block this guy with him. So I just get 1 die. That's good enough. Does he have any skills?
Just a lineman. He has no skills. So
Okay.
let's push back and knock down.
So I'm going to move him to there, and I will follow up. I don't know what his armor value is, but I got an 8.
It is 8.
So I broke his armor. And I got a 6. I don't think that does anything.
A 7. So he is
Or 7.
stunned.
So he's just stunned.
So stunned is he's down, and at the end of my next turn, he will roll over and just be prone.
Yep.
He basically loses a turn.
So that's his turn. Then I'm going to dodge. I got a 6. 2, 3, 4. No. Where was I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to hit him, and I'll have 1 die.
So just to remember, he needs to declare the blitz before he starts moving. I knew what he was doing, though.
Yes.
Because
I was blitzing. Okay, I got a knock or a stumble. So does he have dodge?
No.
So I will knock him down, and I'll place him there. I'll follow up.
Then the ball will scatter.
Oh, 5. So it's going to go here to this square. Here. Then I'm going to roll
To break my armor.
break armor. 10 should
Wow.
break it.
Terrible.
And so that's a 5 on the
5, so
injury
I'm
roll.
stunned.
He's just stunned. So, and to mark stunned, you do him face down whenever you can.
Yep.
So that was 1, 2,
It was 7.
3, 7, including the one
That
to,
was that because you did
Okay.
6 to get to me. 7 was to
7.
hit me.
Here's 8. I'm going to rush. And I'm going to try to pick up the ball with a 3 up. And I've got the ball. And that's where I will end my turn with him. That should be all. There's 1 player left. So that player, he will block him.
And you'll get a bonus.
I
of
do get a
+1.
+1. So that's just a push. So I'm going to push him. No, actually I like him right there. So I'm going to follow up. That will be my turn.
On my turn, both of my players that are down are stunned, so they will not flip over till the end of my turn and cannot get up this turn. I will turn all my guys around first. I'm going to block him with him, and I will get a bonus of 1 because of him. I am going to do the pushback and knock down. The stumble. I am going to push you here and follow up. And then I'm going to roll to break your armor. Let's see if I can break some armor. Definitely
Not
not.
this time.
There is our relatively quick tutorial on how to play Blood Bowl. Hopefully it gives you an understanding of the basics of how to play, and you can watch a game and kind of know what's going on. Hopefully it gives you enough information to decide if it's something you're interested in.
It's a really fun game if you're a sports aficionado and are into this kind of stuff, the miniatures games. it's a good mix of the two, I think.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.